Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions in tech. But I'm going to tell you right now, the answer, it's probably not what you're expecting. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so here it is, the big one. Every single person who wants to get into tech asks this question. Where do I even start? What's the language that's going to unlock my future? And, for years, the answers were pretty much the same. But all of that is changing, like right now. So let's just get the usual suspects off the table right away. Nope, it's not Python, even though it's everywhere in data science. And it's not Java, that old reliable workhorse. The most important language right now is something way, way more human. And there you have it. The single most important programming language today is the one you're using right now, your native language. I mean, if you can understand me, you're pretty much set. But hold on, how did we get to this point? It's kind of wild. To really get it, we need to back up and ask a more basic question. Why do we even have programming languages in the first place? Really, it all comes down to a super simple idea. You have something you want to do, an intent, and you need to get a machine to actually do it. But for decades, there was this huge, clunky, really not fun bottleneck right in the middle of that process. Think about it like this. Let's use a cake analogy. You want to bake a cake, right? That's your intent. So what do? You find a recipe, which is just a set of instructions. And then you follow those instructions and bam, you get a cake. See? Intent, instructions, result. Super simple. Okay, so programming for pretty much all of history has worked the exact same way. You have an intent, say, I want this program to calculate change. Then you write the instructions, that's the code, and the computer runs it and gives you the result. Sounds just like the cake, right? Well, there was one massive, massive catch. And this is the whole thing right here. Those instructions, the code, it had to be written in the computer's language, not yours. The burden was always on us, the humans, to learn how to speak machine. And that one single problem, it shaped the entire history of how we build things with computers. So to really see what's happening now, we need to take a quick trip back in time. Let's look at the history of code, because it's really the story of us trying to close that gap between how we talk and how machines think. We can pretty much break this whole journey down into a few big eras. And what's cool is that each era is a step away from the machine's weird world and a step closer to ours, all leading up to, right now, the AI era. Okay, so in the beginning, we had stuff like assembler. This was basically talking directly to the metal, to the computer's hardware. It's just pure, raw machine logic. I mean, yeah, it was powerful, but for a human to write? Oh man, it was so difficult and completely unforgiving. One tiny mistake and everything breaks. So the next logical step was to create what we call higher-level languages, things like Fortran and COBOL. And they were an improvement. They used words that looked a little more like English, but these early languages had this huge problem. They often created what programmers call spaghetti code. It's exactly what it sounds like, a giant tangled mess of logic that was almost impossible to untangle or fix. So to fix that spaghetti mess, we came up with a new idea, structured and object-oriented languages. Think C++. And this was a huge leap forward. For the first time, programmers could organize their code into neat little boxes, or objects, that actually represented real-world things. You could have a customer object or an invoice object. It made everything more reliable, way easier to manage, and it was a massive step towards thinking more like a person and less like a circuit board. And then, boom, the internet happened, and it changed everything. All of a sudden, your code didn't just have to work on your computer, it had to work on any computer anywhere in the world. This is where languages like Java came in with that famous slogan, write once, run everywhere. And of course, Python, which was all about being super readable and easy to get started with. The whole game was about speed and making things work for everyone, everywhere. So when you look back at all of that, right, the trend is just crystal clear. We have been on this long, long journey for decades, trying to make talking to a computer feel less like doing math and more like, well, just talking. And that brings us right to this moment. The age of AI. And AI didn't just continue the trend. Oh no, it completely flipped the entire script on its head. This is the big one. This is the fundamental flip. For something like 70 years, the rule was simple. If you want to use a computer, you learn its language. But now, for the first time ever, the computer is learning ours. And the magic behind all this? It's a technology called natural language processing, or NLP. This is the science that powers those large language models, LLMs. It's what allows them to actually understand, process, and even generate human language, whether you're speaking English or Spanish or Mandarin or anything else. So remember our cake analogy? Intent, then instructions, then result? Well, with AI, you can pretty much just get rid of that middle step. The instructions part, it's gone, at least for us. We can now go directly from our intent, what we want, straight to the result. The AI does all that messy translation work for us behind the scenes. Okay, so this isn't just a cool history lesson, right? This change has huge implications for everyone. It completely redefines what it even means to be a programmer. Think about it. In the old days, becoming a programmer was a huge deal. The speaker in our source material talks about spending 4 years getting a computer science degree just to learn how to speak that old computer language. That was the price you had to pay. That was the barrier. But that barrier, it's just dissolving. It's crumbling away. And the beautiful thing about this new world is that you don't have to spend years learning some weird, complex, totally foreign language. You already know it. You've literally been practicing the most important programming language for the AI era since you learned to talk. And that's just such a powerful idea, isn't it? I mean, for our entire lives, we've had to bend over backwards to work with machines on their terms. And now, finally, they're learning to work with us on ours. So, we're going to leave you with this one question. This whole thing, it's not just about making coding easier. It's about changing who gets to be a creator. That barrier that used to exist between having an idea and actually making it real, it's never been lower. The power to build stuff isn't just for a small group of experts anymore. You're already fluent. So the only question left is, now that you're a programmer, what are you going to build?